The UK throws away more food than any other European country, 10 million tonnes a year. That's enough to feed an estimated 145,000 people for life.
What absolutely shocked me was, why is all this waste being allowed to happen?
With millions of Brits struggling to put food on the table, it's a food crisis that makes no sense. But have these two men found a solution?
Every town, every city, every community in the country can have an operation which brings surplus food and people in need together.
Can they change the food habits of a nation? And do it by focusing on the fresh food that supermarkets and wholesalers are throwing away. David Cairns and Robin Aitken have an inspiring scheme to cut down on the huge amount of food waste in the UK.
We go to supermarkets and wholesalers, take their surplus food, which would otherwise go to waste, and redistribute it to charities that actually feed people.
This revolutionary idea is being taken and applied to our capital city. In London, it's called the Felix Project, and it was set up by the Byam Shaw family to commemorate Felix Byam Shaw, who died of meningitis at the age of 14. David and Robin are helping replicate their original Oxford model for the London project. But it's not been easy.
It is a huge challenge, but it's also very exciting because it's the first time we've ever actually been able to prove that we can replicate this thing.
With help from local newspaper, the London Evening Standard, the organisation now has dozens of new volunteers.
You're going to be picking up from Costco in Wembley.
The extra helping hands mean even more excess fresh food has been rescued from being binned by the supermarkets and given to those who need it.
So I came last year for the Christmas meal and I've been coming off and on since then.
I'm just grateful for being here.
The next task is to find more supermarkets and wholesalers, or suppliers, to provide them with more surplus fresh produce. In Oxford, David and Robin have 15 regular businesses that give them food. The London project started with just 4.
You have to find new suppliers, and you have to find charities that the food they give you can go to. So, I mean, you can't do one without the other. So once you've got your supplier base, as long as you're treating them well, they'll treat you well. In time, we haven't found them yet, but they're out there, I'm sure.
Getting more supermarkets and wholesalers to hand over their waste food is vital if they're going to crack London. Former private sector boss David brings his business acumen to the charity.
The importance of suppliers is quite simple. If we haven't got supply, we can't create demand.
Expanding fast means they have to keep a constant eye on the fine balance of getting in enough of the right types of food and finding enough hungry people who want to eat it. David needs to work fast to get more London companies to hand over produce.
Quite obviously.
He sits down with Anne to brainstorm ideas.
I think it's really good for us to continue to work well with Waitrose. They've been really good in terms of quality of supply and quantity. Sainsbury's we're working with, obviously, and now that we're working with so many chains, that's just a question of talking to head office, really, and saying, right, we're here now, and getting lists of branches that are possibilities.
They're already established in West London, so David is now looking east in his bid to crack the capital.
I have had a look around the area, and the one thing I can say about it is it looks like it's ripe for wholesalers, actually fruit and veg wholesalers.
Brilliant.
They're all over the place. I mean, I really seriously think we can make this work, so we just got to get on with it.
Today, the London project has been given a mountain of spaghetti.
Ash, do you want to come and grab some spaghetti as well? We've got loads of spaghetti. All of these purple boxes. You put maybe 3 or 4 on. And then when you get to the charities, really try and encourage them to take it, especially if they've got storage space. Yeah?
This massive pasta is just a fraction of what they could have taken.
So we had 1 truckload delivered, but they actually had 11 truckloads of the spaghetti. Obviously, us just being at the stage that we're at and delivering to just under 25 charities, we just couldn't accept any more than 1 truckload.
The generous delivery was all down to a technical glitch with the supermarket's ordering system, but this isn't unusual.
I have seen instances where they have basically automated ordering. In other words, once the stock level reaches a certain level, they automatically order a whole load of stuff. And that stuff arrives before the other stuff is actually run out. So they just take all the old stuff off the shelf and throw it away.
In order to keep costs down, supermarkets buy in bulk. If you buy lots of a product, you can get a discount. Unfortunately, that also means when you get it wrong, you're landed with a huge amount of one item. This scheme wants a wide variety of fresh and healthy food. With valuable room being taken up in the depot, Anne's keen to turn these packets of pasta into delicious dishes ASAP.
All of the charities get delivered to as usual, and we just put a little bit more of one thing on if we've got a glut of something, and we just try and ask the volunteers to do a really good sales job and just encourage the charities to take it, really. Most of the time they come back with an empty van, so they're really good at it. And then other times we just call round charities and say, do you want another delivery of this? Slowly but surely, the spaghetti mountain is going down.
But Robin's come up with a plan.
How are you?
Very well.
Good.
Very well.
Good.
So we're going to shift some of this stuff, aren't we?
Straight down to business, I see. Haven't even put the kettle on yet. Straight for the spaghetti.
He's sending some of the dry pasta to this sister organisation in Oxford, so its volunteers can get it out to some of their charities.
Yeah. The principle that we've always worked with from the start is let's get all of this stuff out to the charities and they can make the decision whether they can use it at the end of the day, if it is in glut. I'd much rather give them the option of using it than us waste it and find out that they could have used it. So the philosophy always is get as much of what you've got out.
One of the organisations to benefit from this surplus spaghetti is Restore. The charity runs a cafe staffed by volunteers dealing with mental health problems. The idea is that volunteers like Tim, who suffers from anxiety, will become more comfortable being out and about because he'll have had experience socialising with the people at the cafe.
Here today. All of the ingredients are surplus food that's donated to us from Food Bank. And so we're just taking, whatever you can afford to donate. So when you're ready to order, you can come up to the till.
Thank you.
Okay. When I started coming here, my anxiety was very heightened. I had lots of panic attacks and really struggled, but eventually it really helped build up my confidence. And it's been a real godsend being here, actually. That's your order number. We'll give you a call when it's ready.
Great.
Restore relies heavily on the deliveries from the food bank.
Good morning. Hi there.
And while manager Chrissy doesn't always know what to expect, she does on this occasion.
I had a phone call from Food Bank. They have a huge amount of spaghetti.
You know what we've got?
Spaghetti! Yay! So they said, Chrissy, what do we do with this? And what we've decided to do is spend as much as you can spare spaghetti. So that's our tongue twister for the month.
Can we get one spaghetti special, please?
You would not credit how much spaghetti we have had to the base in the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, that will keep everyone happy.
I'll take these inside.
Chef Sharon has been anticipating the delivery.
We're using Food Bank spaghetti, making a sauce to go with it. Today it's tomatoes and mushrooms, and it's spend as much as you can. So people that maybe can't afford something can put in what they can afford and get a wholesome big bowl of pasta.
Oh, right there. You decided what you want?
I'll have pasta, please.
The spaghetti special?
Yeah.
More spaghetti for you. Do you want some there? I've even got the cheese for the topping.
Wonderful.
Oh, and the
Tim has worked at the cafe for 14 months.
separately. We've just had a bit of a mad rush, so it's always good fun, exciting, trying to keep up with things, and then you find you get a bit flustered and make a few mistakes, but Chrissy's always on hand to help out, and yeah, we get through it. Spaghetti special.
Brilliant, thanks.
Wow. When you start working with someone and then slowly their personality comes back, their confidence comes back, and yeah, it's really job satisfaction to see that.
They cope with a lot, but at the same time they get a lot out of it. Well, the spaghetti special, number 7.
Okay, brilliant. Thanks, Sharon. I think it's great the food isn't going to waste, and it's great that so many people here get to enjoy the tasty meals that we prepare with it.
The surplus food deliveries mean the cafe can offer cheap dishes on its menu and free lunches for its volunteers.
Spaghetti special.
Fantastic.
The food bank allows us not only to use food that otherwise would have gone in the bin, but also it helps our members by giving them a wholesome lunch. Every time they come to us, every member gets a wholesome dinner. Nice butternut squash curry next week for Curry Friday. We can take some onions as well if you want to. A lot of people think that good food is expensive. And it can be, but there are simple things you can do to have a balanced diet on a low budget. You want to?
What about Mooley?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's a good talking point, if nothing else.
The food bank delivers 3 times a week.
I'm always amazed of what the quality is on that van. It's always high-quality food that should be being used.
I think it's a great thing to do. It's brilliant, and there's so much waste that...
Yeah, there's never any excuse for food to be thrown away, food that's edible to be thrown away. I mean, this is absolutely delicious.
Today's lunch has been a huge hit with the customers. So, with a couple of dozen dishes of the pasta special being served up, that's surplus food in people's stomachs rather than in the bin. And much needed funds for a charity helping people going through a hard time.
Yeah. There's a huge waste problem, and just by using it in projects like this, you can not only reduce the waste but get some value from it.
Back in London, during Anne's time at the London Food Waste Charity, the number of companies giving them food has risen from 4 to 14. That's still 1 short of the tally in Oxford. David is busy doing the rounds to sign up more food businesses.
Our primary responsibility is to tap into this desire to get involved, because a lot of people will think, yeah, I'd like to do that, or I'd like to be involved, or suppliers would say, yeah, that's a good thing, but they don't know how to do it. So that's our responsibility to make that happen.
And to do that, he's come to New Spitalfields Market in East London, and the largest market for fruit and veg in the country. If David can get some of the traders here on board, the London operation could benefit from a cornucopia of exactly the right sort of fresh food they're after. He's meeting the trader behind Kong Ming Fruit and Veg.
Hi, Eugene. I'm David from the Felix Project.
Nice to meet you.
It's great of you to actually meet with us so that I can explain a bit to you about what we're doing.
Not a problem.
You know, the Felix Project is based around a concept where there's all of this food that goes to landfill or goes to waste at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And what we try to do is take the surplus food that you have and redistribute it to charities the next day that actually feed people so that it doesn't go into waste. We've got 1 depot at Brent Cross, Park Royal. We're now looking around for positioning a 2nd depot, and we're thinking of doing it in this area, primarily because A, there's a large number of suppliers, and B, because there is a fair degree of deprivation from what we understand.
Eugene is one of the largest wholesalers here. If David can sign him up, it would be a good result.
Can you give me some idea of how much stuff you might have left at the end of the day?
It can vary from day to day. It can sometimes be a lot of stuff which has been sitting for, could be up to a few weeks sometimes.
You know, the more supply that we can get, the more people that we can help.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, as long as it's edible, we'll take it. And basically, we just arrive at an agreed time, take what you've got, and we just leave, and that's it. I'm sure you agree it's better than it going into a hole in the ground.
Exactly.
Do you think you can help us?
Yeah, it shouldn't be a problem.
Founded in 1638, Spitalfields Market has more wholesalers than any other fruit and veg market in Britain. Securing 1 merchant isn't signing up the whole market, but David hopes word will spread quickly that traders can hand over surplus fresh food without having to pay, and it'll get eaten.
Well, Eugene, lovely to meet you.
Lovely
Thank
to
you
meet
so
you,
much.
No problem.
When we absolutely decide when we're going to be here, I'll contact you and we can move on from there.
All right, no problem.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
You know, getting into this place to meet a supplier like that was fantastic. You know, and Eugene was a very nice guy. Yeah. The volume of food that goes through here, if we even got 4 or 5% of that at the end of the day, or even 1 or 2%, it would be such a foundation, such an absolute godsend to start off with.
The London Food Waste Project takes food from wholesalers and supermarkets and gives it to charities.
All the waste that goes on in this, I'm totally flabbergasted. I mean, it's shocking. It's just incredible to think You know, all this effort's gone into producing this in the first place, and then we're putting it into a hole in the ground. It's crazy.
Each year, more than 370 million meals worth of edible food waste from shops and manufacturers is not being given to those in need. In Leeds, an organisation is also taking surplus produce from food businesses, but then using it to stack the shelves of a makeshift supermarket in a warehouse.
I'm shocked about the amount of food waste that there is in this country. It's absolutely amazing.
They get deliveries every day. It's shocking to say that we as a nation waste that much food.
The Real Junk Food Project created a no-frills market using surplus fresh food. You choose what you need and then pay as much as you can afford. Donations are used to support the project's operational costs.
There's absolutely no reason that this food should be thrown away. The supermarkets, the food distributors, all points of the food chain need to take ownership for how much they're contributing to all this food waste.
So I've just picked up this olive bread, some tea cakes and some celery. Absolutely perfect, nothing wrong with it.
There are all sorts of reasons why fresh food ends up here.
We get a lot of high-end quality foods, but the package is damaged, so they don't want to display it in certain supermarkets and outlets. We also get things that online deliveries have been cancelled, so rather than it being put back into a warehouse, we actually go collect it from the hubs.
At the warehouse, driver Keith brings back the excess food to be weighed and sorted into categories and logged under the name of the supermarket it came from.
There you go, cheers. What we want to do is use the recorded information to take back to the supermarkets to say just exactly how much food they're throwing away and perhaps cut back, because the idea is that we don't get this. Hopefully, our message will get across.
This no-frills food waste market is stocked with everything you would find in a regular store and appeals to shoppers from all walks of life.
I think, especially for students, it's a good idea to come here since we are on kind of a low budget, so it's a good way to save some money as well and do something good.
I've got 3 really young children, lots of fresh fruit and vegetables. It's quite expensive for us at home, so this is really great.
It's the biggest bill every single week, so if we can reduce your bill and reduce the waste, it's a perfect combination.
Driver Keith is on his rounds collecting surplus food from supermarkets. And he has an enviable list of food businesses.
I've been to Marks and Spencer's, Co-op. We'll also get a pickup from Ocado, which is the online shopping service for Waitrose and Morrison's. We get private donations. People ring us up, would you like this stock? Where it's going out of date, can you use it? We always say yes.
Keith has years of experience in the food industry and is all too aware of the scandal of surplus food being binned.
I'd seen lots of food waste in various outlets, whether they be grocery, whether they be catering, etc., over the years. So I knew what went on and I knew how they disposed of it as well, that a lot went to landfill. It was a real eye-opener.
One of his pickups today is from Morrison's in Leeds city centre.
Morrison's been supportive as always. Great stuff.
That's 12 boxes of fruit and veg that would otherwise have ended up in the bin.
Fighting with a trolley. Good fun on a Saturday morning.
Keith's got this bountiful harvest all because it's reached its best before date. Robin has made it his business to decode supermarket jargon.
There is absolutely no risk eating food which has gone past its best before date. All the best before date means is that after that date, the manufacturer is saying there might have been some deterioration in the quality of this food. It's not a health risk, it's a quality control risk.
Retailers also use sell-by and display until dates on products. They're just an instruction for staff, not shoppers. But don't eat or drink anything past its use-by date, even if it looks and smells fine. At the London Depot, Deputy Project Coordinator Sophie is looking for more people who love pasta to offer them surplus spaghetti.
Would one of you guys like to phone Rumi's Kitchen and ask them what sort of things they would like? Also, will they take pasta? You can ask them to take pasta as well.
I mentioned fruit, veg, pumpkins, pasta, and they said they want all of it because they're feeding 60 to 80 people on Sunday. That's a lot of people.
Not bad going on the pasta front, but doing the maths isn't going to be as easy.
Maybe
What's
like...
that? If that's 80 meals, what's that, 400 grams a meal? Is that the idea?
I don't know where you're getting those numbers from, but fine, I'll go with it. I don't know, I'm not very good with numbers.
That's between 275 and 400 per meal.
Oh, what are you doing? I don't know. 60 to 80 people. Well, one of these serves like...
4 people.
What's that then, mathematician?
So 500 grams, so 4, that's 20, so we need 20 packets. So we need a box and a half. A box and a
Okay,
quarter.
but we want to give them more than that.
2 boxes. Yeah, 2 boxes, yeah.
Let's give them 4. You've seen how many boxes of pasta are here?
It's fine.
They can store this at a charity just as we can store it here, if they've got storage space. They just take way too much, and if they don't want it, it will come back. It's better to go with too much.
576 boxes of spaghetti will delight many, many diners with a passion for pasta.
Philip, have you got any spaghetti in the van? Spaghetti in the van?
No.
Can you?
Thank you. I get told off.
When you get to the charities at the other end, I know that you've just said that some of them don't need any more spaghetti, but just try and do a really good sales job.
I do.
I trust you do.
I work for the Spaghetti Foundation.
Just keep on going with the spaghetti. Ask them to take as much as they can.
I will.
Lovely.
One of the charities Phil is delivering to today is Acton Homeless. This drop-in centre is based in West London and provides free lunches for anyone who needs a hot and wholesome meal.
Oh, that's lovely.
So good. Anything and everything.
Yeah.
More and more people are struggling to find the cash to pay for food. It's estimated that over 4 million Brits regularly go a whole day without eating. That's one of the main reasons why David and Robin set up their model in the first place.
You know, when we first came into this and you realise that there's all this food that's being wasted, and then you hear on the other side of it about people living in the streets or homeless people who are, or families even that, you know, can't feed themselves, it's just logical that, you know, this should go there.
Acton Homeless is a perfect example of a charity that needs the surplus food the London Waste Project can provide. So who better to take some of the spaghetti off their hands?
Ian, lots of spaghetti there for you. Thank you, mate. Always goes down well, the spaghetti. That's your lot. I think they took the whole lot, didn't they? That's what we like to see, a nice, clean van. They take everything here at Acton Homeless, so it was not difficult to get rid of that spaghetti. It all went.
In fact, none of the food provided by the project ever goes to waste at the shelter.
They donate nice and fresh veg, and the bread is lovely and very healthy in food as well. It's amazing what you can do with that food, and it's a shame to throw it away.
Amira, head chef, has been working here for 10 years. She's passionate about providing a good hearty meal for the people who come here.
On Thursday I do pasta and mince, and on Friday most of the time is fish.
And for the regulars, they rely on the home-cooked meals. People making you a hot meal can make a big difference, especially when you're fighting a daily battle against the elements.
I use this eating place. It's free every weekday. It's open every weekday. Keeps me sustained through all times of the year. I got stuck out in the rain 3 nights ago, and it rained all night, and I was out in it all night, and I was just getting more miserable every second I was out. And if it wasn't for breakfast, a hot cup of tea, just pick me up, get a lunch, and then start piecing myself back together, like drying my clothes, getting new clothes, going off to interviews, help people like me that when we come along troubled times, having this place to come to first in the morning, incredibly important for me. In fact, life-saving for me. If it wasn't for this place, I don't know how I'd probably manage.
Astonishingly, Amira makes around 47,000 meals in a year, but the problem is predicting how many people are going to turn up.
Roughly 108, 170 now, this few weeks. But before 220, it was very busy.
But she has an army of good-hearted volunteers helping her.
Me, I can't do it on myself. We have lovely volunteers. As you can see, they're all around. They're all volunteers, all of them. We are so blessed. Without them, seriously, nothing will get done in this place.
Sister Madeline has been volunteering here for 11 years.
She's very creative, very good cook. Yeah, some of them do really thank her, you know, for the food, the dinner she serves. Yeah.
She knows how to make people feel welcome. And even debates about football over a cup of tea.
I do everything here, really. Mostly serving the teas, mostly. Hard work, but I do like it. I just like mixing with the people and talking to the people and just being friendly with trying to be friendly with everybody. Sometimes I get a bit impatient with people. I think we all do at times. Yeah, look at the cakes. Lovely.
They're very nice.
This is marvellous. It means we don't have to buy potatoes and buy bread and wherever else they brought fruit. You know, we don't have to buy it, so it helps us.
Do you want tea or coffee?
More people coming in, different people coming in, different staff, different volunteers, you know. We never know when we come in the morning how many volunteers we'll have, you know. Talk a lot about football, I'm afraid.
I only come here because at the moment I'm homeless, but I've got some good news. So I've got a viewing for a flat, so just around the corner. So if I'm successful, then probably I'll come back here as a volunteer. And all they've given me would be nice to give back. Have the experience of being in this situation and come back here with, obviously, I can do more than just serve and wash dishes and clean floors. For me, it's just logical symbiosis of the situation.
Lunch is in full swing. With a constant stream of diners, it's a constant job plating up dishes. But with all these hungry people, it means everything gets used.
This ravioli, they only donated 3 packs, so that is getting used.
This excess food has fed up to 150 people who desperately needed it. Fresh food they just wouldn't have received if it wasn't for the London Project. The scandal of food waste goes way beyond supermarket surplus.
Most people who go into restaurants never give a thought to the food waste that restaurants generate.
But all around the country there are businesses trying their best to stop throwing out food. In Brighton, there's a restaurant that has incredibly managed to stick to a zero waste policy since it opened 2 years ago.
We define zero waste as material. The simplest way to put it is that we don't have a bin.
Silo is the creation of renowned chef Doug McMaster, a former BBC Young Chef of the Year.
Do you know what I think you need? Really simply, little jewels of caramel. Because like the dish is beautifully unsweet, but you almost want that sort of naughty.
Everything about this award-winning ethical restaurant is geared towards no waste.
If there's trimmings and things that may accidentally fall on the floor or not eaten off from the plate, it can go directly into our compost machine. This is Bertha. Bertha is our aerobic digester or compost machine. So Bertha eats all of our waste, organic waste of course, and then we give that back to our suppliers. Everything is either digestible by us or by Bertha.
It's not just zero tolerance to food waste. The restaurant is completely kitted out with reclaimed and upcycled materials.
This is an industrial floor tile. I think it's 6th hand, so it's been in 5 different buildings as a floating floor for industrial high-rise buildings. The legs, they're primary school table legs, so they were too small, and they were all going to landfill. Because there were so many, I thought, right, we could hack off 3 inches off of half of them and weld it to the other half. We've used total waste and turned it into, the tables and chairs for our whole restaurant.
There's one signature dish on offer that's always on the menu. The silo salad.
Okay, so 2 silo salads.
Thank you. Which mixes fresh salad with excess vegetable trimmings that would normally end up in the bin.
The salad is lovely. Very nice. It's a nice unusual salad because it's got dark green leafy vegetables in it, and usually you get a salad that's full of this sort of boring old lettuce, whereas this is actually much tastier.
Chef James makes a fresh batch of the salad every day, and the ingredients are never the same.
When we're preparing food for, let's say, the dinner menu, sometimes you've got to prep vegetables in a way which would create waste. we got in some cauliflowers. Because we want the dinner menu to be a bit more special, we're going to take a section out of the cauliflower and serve it like a steak. When we do this, it's all very well being able to serve this beautiful shape here, which will just be deep fried and then served with some sort of garnish. It's pretty, it looks great. But then what do you do with all this trim here? The main part of the silo salad, the reason it exists is to absorb all of this vegetable trim that would normally see the bin.
This clever use of surplus fresh vegetable trimmings is what makes customers appreciate the salad.
You know, I like vegetables and I like the fact that it's being reused. It tastes delicious. They always put lots of flavour in it, so they pick all the vegetables, so it tastes really good. You wouldn't even know if you didn't know that it was being a stalk or a leaf off a cauliflower. You'd have no idea.
Places I've worked before, they'll fill up 10 to 20 bins in a day. Everyone should be doing this. There's no excuse not to.
This type of restaurant shows its customers just how wasting so much food isn't necessary.
We waste so much food in this country that actually we don't need to. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with this salad. And yeah, it's all incredibly tasty.
In Britain, more than 500,000 tonnes of food waste a year is being sent to landfill by the bars, restaurants and cafes we enjoy eating at.
I think restaurant waste is a particularly difficult food surplus issue to deal with because it's cooked food usually.
Across the other side of Brighton, it's not just fresh restaurant food that's being reused.
Hi Andy, how are you doing?
Hello Tom, nice to
see you.
Keeping well?
Yeah, very well, thanks. How's business?
Can't complain. Nice busy day and yeah, not a bad day at all. A good week.
Am I allowed around here?
Yes, please do.
I've done my food hygiene certificate.
Tom manages a bus company. But he hasn't popped in between runs for fish and chips. He's come for something else, the chip fat oil.
Chip shops are a great source for fuel for our buses because they go through a lot of oil. We can collect anything up to 200 litres in a day from the same place.
Tom is a co-owner of the Big Lemon Bus Company that has a fleet of coaches and minibuses serving areas across Brighton and Hove, and they're all fuelled from waste cooking oil collected from local restaurants.
We have one of the largest ranges in Brighton. It's what they call a 4-pan. The oil goes in fresh in the morning. Yeah. It's cleaned halfway through the day, and new oil goes in again tomorrow. So our oil is never any more than 18 hours cooking.
The amount of waste cooking oil we produce in Britain is massive. One water company estimates that there's the equivalent of 10 Olympic swimming pools full of oil in their sewers. And it's been estimated that businesses serving hot food could be putting more than 500 million litres of oil into our sewers this year. So any waste oil that can be reused is invaluable.
It's very important to build relationships with local fish and chip shops because we rely on them for the oil. In the height of summer, they sell thousands and thousands of packets of chips. And also Brighton seafront, you know, it's busiest in the summer, but it is an all year round attraction.
Waste oil is collected from 200 restaurants, bars and cafes every fortnight and taken to a nearby processing plant that turns it into usable biofuel.
They get rid of all the chips, get the water out of it, gets it to the right acidity, viscosity and density for the engine, and then they deliver it into our fuel store ready to go.
The vehicle engines are specifically adapted and need monthly servicing.
It's almost a full-time job washing these buses.
But for Tom, the environmental benefits outweigh the cost.
There are a number of things that you have to do to the engine, and we change the filters a lot more frequently, but the benefits are massive. It's a waste product that would otherwise go down the drain, blocks the sewers, it cuts our carbon footprint by over 90%, but also it's a valuable fuel, it's got a lot of energy in it.
This sustainable bus company has its own filling station, where the biofuel is stored.
So here we have 5,000 litre capacity. One of these IBC containers holds 1,000 litres of fuel, and that keeps us going for about 2 days. One benefit of using biodiesel is that it's much safer to handle. It's not a flammable liquid unless you're at very high pressure and temperature, which means we can have it here and the drivers can fuel up at the end of the day. Oh, find out. It is quite a fun concept, using the remnants of people's kitchens to to fuel a bus, but it works very well.
It's win-win for everyone: the community, the environment, the bus company, and of course, the chippies.
The fact that you've got buses running around on chip fat is great. You know, the pollution is slightly lower, and of course the oil's been used twice. I would certainly hope that, you know, we could encourage more venues to give their chip fat away, and if it's to the Big Lemon, that would be great. That keeps another bus on the road.
Back at the London project, all this spaghetti still in its packets that was saved from going in the bin was donated by Sainsbury's. Around 1,000 of its shops regularly give surplus food to charities nationwide. But all along the supply chain, there's a risk that edible surplus food could end up in landfill rather than in hungry stomachs. The supermarket has also thought about how to save its spaghetti from your kitchen bin.
You've got your spaghetti measure for 1, 2 or 3 people, so you don't do too much and waste it that way.
Wasting food costs the average family £700 a year. Gadgets like this are being handed out at a local branch in Swadlincote in Derbyshire. The supermarket chain is challenging residents to cut food waste in the home by half. For many locals like Lisa, facing up to how much food they were wasting was difficult.
It is an eye-opener when somebody says to you, record what you're wasting every week, and then you have to write it down or weigh it, then it becomes very real, and it's like quite embarrassing if you are putting something into your caddy that could have been used.
Another lesson was finding out how storing food could add to what she throws away.
I didn't know if you keep potatoes and onions together, they counteract each other and can make them go off more quickly. So we've got the fruit bowl actually, where you keep your bananas separate because they have a gas that they give off that makes your fruit go off more quickly, which I didn't know about either. So that's been quite handy. We received these food huggers, which I love. Once you've started using your fruit and veg, it means at the end of it stays fresh. And then in the fridge we received a turntable. Inevitably you get all these sauces and you can't see what's at the back. Just by having the turntable means that we know exactly what's in there, and you can just sort of turn around and think, oh yeah, we've got that. We don't need to buy any more of that.
For the London project, educating the nation on food is an important step in reducing the amount of fresh produce from supermarkets that goes in the bin and changing our attitude to cooking and eating.
I would say supermarkets do have an element of responsibility to educate people about what they should be doing and what they shouldn't be. At the end of the day, it's up to the people themselves whether they choose to actually learn from that. But if the supermarkets make the information available, then that's a good thing.
The local council is confident the people of Swadlincote will pull off cutting their food waste in half.
We're about 9 months in now, so if you multiply that by the population of Swadlincote, which is about 40,000 people, then I think we're making a big difference already.
In the last few months, the London Food Bank has reached 14 fresh produce providers, but they still need more if they're going to expand. British businesses have to pay to put their excess food in landfill. But now this food waste project will pick it up for free and make sure it's eaten. David is signing up more London companies so the organisation can offer a greater variety of food to give to those in need.
Particularly in London, with the logistics of London, you need to have suppliers within a 5-mile radius of the depot. Once you start to grow, you need quantity and you need variety, you know, and by getting a load of bigger suppliers, that gives you both. If this is going to work, we definitively have to find that level of suppliers within the area before we make the decision.
High on David's list is Marks & Spencer. He's coming to the business's Olympic-sized store in East London. Westfield Stratford City has been built right next to the site of the London 2012 Games and is the largest urban shopping centre in the European Union. David already has deals with the company's food stores in Oxford and in West London, but if they're going to expand, they'll need to sign up more branches.
Hi there, I'm Mark.
Hi Mark, I'm David from the Felix Project.
Nice to meet you.
Lovely to meet you. Where we are at the minute is we've established the Felix Project in Park Royal near Brent, and we're now looking for the second area where we will try to establish another. base. And we've done various studies that indicates that around here, Walthamstow, Tottenham, Enfield is probably a good place for us to go.
Yeah.
From one of a better expression, deprivation in these areas.
Of course.
And that's what we're set up to do, is take your food and give it to people who need it.
Definitely. I mean, ultimately our goal is to reduce the amount of waste that we have anyway at the end of the day. But then we're absolutely committed to redistributing anything that is surplus.
Yeah.
Currently work with an organisation called Neighbourly, and we contact via their website and upload what sort of products that we have available at the end of the day. Works really well. All right.
The chain store says it aims to be the world's most sustainable retailer. Via website neighbourly.com, shops offer their surplus food to local charities, more than 500 tonnes so far. To get produce from other branches, David needs to find a way to work with Neighbourly. Neighbourly's founder, Nick Davis, has come to the store to see if they can make it happen.
So Neighbourly is a social platform that's trying to connect companies to community projects.
We feel we're in a position now to look at opening a second operation, and we're currently doing the research around the areas to see what supply there is, to see what charities there are, and then, you know, our role really is just the logistics of matching up one with the other on a daily basis. So we would love it if you guys could support us if and when we come into this area.
Of course we can, and as two logistics partners, we're both just making it easier for the companies that have an ambition to do this. There's so much potential that we can unlock for you in future depots and then nationwide, all across the country. So much potential to get communities moving and working together.
No, that would be fantastic. I mean, the nationwide thing is obviously one of my long-held desires.
We can do that together.
Yeah, brilliant. Yeah.
That sounds like a deal. The supermarket can give the London Food Bank big bulk orders of products not selling. Then they can divide them up so hungry people get the variety of food they need to make up a balanced diet.
We're really looking forward to working with you in the company, and hopefully we can make a real difference.
Absolutely.
Fantastic.
Brilliant.
Thank you very much. Take care.
By having a variety of suppliers, you'll find that if M&S are short of potatoes one day, then there's another supplier that's got a glut of potatoes. And this is why we're different again, because we take everything back to the depot and then redistribute it so that everybody gets something of everything.
The London Food Waste Project has now got 17 suppliers. That's 2 more than the original charity in Oxford. They're expanding so fast, they may be reaching a town near you soon. Next time, the model that David and Robin devised is taking off around the country.
What would be the first steps that you would recommend me to take to try and get a project like this on its feet?
Tesco is tackling food waste at its suppliers.
And we'll go into a variety of different packs, starting from our premium packs and our large baker packs, all the way through down to our smaller size and our wonky veg size.
And chairman of the Felix Project, Justin Byam-Shaw, visits the depot with news on whether or not the charity has succeeded in London.
What's been achieved the last 6 months, I think, is fantastic.
Thursday morning on BBC One, a new Homes Under the Hammer next, featuring a seaside bungalow in Cumbria. Hospital bed stories include a pregnant woman keen on a water birth and a lad in pain from club foot. And then the Rip Off Britain team tackle food allergies. All to come this morning on BBC One.